Business Studies, University of Dhaka. Professor Dr. Habibur Rahman, chief guest today. Professor Dr. Rashidul Hassan, Professor Muhyiddin. Our guest today, Mr. Ernie Turner, Mr. Dev Datto, and the host, Mr. Asif. Thank you for inviting me today this warm morning. I'm very happy to know that LIM, Leadership in Motion, Global USA, an international consulting firm, has decided to come to Bangladesh, shaking their hands with LIM Global USA Bangladesh Limited. As this organization works mainly on development of need-based skill and education to increase employability of the graduates, developing entrepreneurship, and to generate outsourcing capacities. So I think that will help our faculty, our students, and especially the students from the management department a lot. And also, while going through their credential, I came to know that they have about 60 consultants from 8 ownership. All the time when he sees me, even today, yesterday and day before yesterday, whenever he sees me, he's talking about his center. And that's why I think he's the right person Muhyiddin sir has selected to be associated for the betterment of this LIM USA Bangladesh. I hope and wish that our youths will obviously be promoted with expertise and be qualified for self-employment and employability in other firms. Our faculty is entrusted with promoting skills and talents to increase employability and entrepreneurial capability of our graduates too. This will be facilitated but more with this new relationship with LIM Global USA Bangladesh with our faculty. I wish every success of the new venture in Bangladesh, and as a dean I promise to extend a wholehearted cooperation, whatever facilities required and whatever LIM Bangladesh needs to expand their activities in Bangladesh. And whatever you need, just let us know. If we can, we'll never say no. So whatever is within our capability, we'll always be with you and we'll be supporting your activities in Bangladesh. Thank you very much for inviting me today, and very good morning.
Thank you, sir, for your extremely kind-hearted gesture, and also the advice, and also the so we have got the opportunity to work the business faculty business studies. That's a great point of us, and also about the Center for Research and Entrepreneurship Development. This is a great opportunity for us. So before going to our chief guest and chairperson, and also the Rashidul Hassan sir, I think we can just, Ernie Turner, can you please say some few words so that all our distinguished guests can learn something? Just few words so that they can understand what LIM can do.
What do you want to learn?
LIM can do, LIM can actually this, just few words.
I'll say.
Good morning. It's really a treat to be here. Thank you, Ashia, for all the hard work getting us together. And it's really an honor to be with Dev here in this setting with you. And thank you for your invitation to commit to something you don't even know us yet. That's a lot of trust putting there. Yeah. We're looking forward to the next 2.5 hours. We're here till 1 o'clock with you. And this was titled a workshop. And I get a little nervous when I'm standing in front and lecturing. I'm not a lecturer. So that's one of the reasons we quickly changed the setting to have a workshop, and we'll be down with you in just a few minutes. But just to give a little bit of a flavor for our expectations, we put an agenda together for today. And we're in the welcome, brief introductions of Deb and myself in particular. And then we will be hearing from you who you are and why you're here. Why did you show up? What is a question that you hope gets answered? and something unique about you. So that'll come in a few minutes. And then Deb is going to walk us through the offer that we bring to you. It's an offer in formation, because we do not know exactly what you need, what you want, and how we can partner with you. So part of today is to discover with you what you would like to see different in terms of the School of Entrepreneurship, how we can be co-creators with you in terms of bringing that to life. And as we've been talking over the last 4 months, a little bit about the challenge you're facing here in Bangladesh, how we, the LIM group and our advisors, can really start to think with you, how can we partner and create something that will lead to better employment and more entrepreneurship. So those are the 2 areas that we're really looking at: employment, entrepreneurship, and how to get there is through education. How can we improve the curriculum that we have, and how can we improve the teaching-learning connection? Because if we're only teaching and not learning, it's not going to result in better employability and better entrepreneurship. So we really are interested, from your perspective, what is missing? How can we improve that equation? Curriculum, teaching, and learning. We're in the learning business. So, actually, that's enough for me right now.
Thank you very much. স্যার, আপনি মনে হয় ব্যস্ত আছেন আজকে। আমি এখন আমাদের অত্যন্ত সম্মানিত স্যার ডক্টর এইচ ভাইবুর রহমান স্যারকে অনুরোধ করছি। স্যার, একটু কিছু কথা।
Honorable Chairman, distinguished guests, and young man present in this meeting, I express my heartfelt thanks to Professor Mahiuddin and Professor Shibli Ruwaidat Islam, Dean of the Business Studies, for inviting me to be present in this meeting even for a few minutes. Actually, my passion is entrepreneurship development in Bangladesh. I started research work on entrepreneurship in 1975 by undertaking a collaborative research program of 7 Asian countries: entrepreneurship development and entrepreneurship and small enterprise development in Southeast Asian countries. That was the first project. My research says that Bangladesh has tremendous potentiality to develop entrepreneurship among the university graduates, among the first generation young men. They have all qualities like achievement motivation, risk-taking ability, and energy and motive. What they need stimulated young generation can develop them as successful entrepreneur, and by doing so they can generate employment for themselves and for others. I define entrepreneurship that one graduate will create employment for himself and at the same time generate employment for others. That means this will be a growth-oriented activity starting from a small enterprise, then gradually upgrading the enterprise as medium and enterprise. And this will contribute towards the economic and industrial development of the country. I believe in this definition of entrepreneurship. Today I am very busy for some reasons. I think LIM, what is the form of LIM? Yes. Leadership in motion. Actually, Bangladesh is moving fast towards the growth and development. So we can give them some productive-oriented education and motivation and education. I think the growth will be accelerated. I think if we work together, business studies faculty and Center for Research and Entrepreneurship Development and LIM, I think we can accelerate growth of the economic development of the country, which is the goal of our nation. So I think this is a very opportune moment for me to work with this esteemed organization. So I don't like to longer my speech. I think if opportunity comes, we can work together towards the promotion and development of entrepreneurship in Bangladesh with the assistance of LIM. Thank you, all of you, for inviting me to speak.
একদম ডাইরেক্ট টিচার হয় এবং উনি লিম গ্লোবাল ইউএসএর অ্যাডভাইজার প্রফেসর ডক্টর স্যার
You're being recorded. Here's all the thing called editing.
Very good morning to everybody. To have the chairperson is my respected sir, Professor H.M. Habibur Rahman. He is also my teacher. And the guests and Professor Shibli, the dean of the faculty, he just left for business. So very welcome to you all. আমার ছাত্র আছি, সেই আমাকে যোগাযোগ করে এই কর্মকাণ্ডে সম্পৃক্ত করেছে, সেই জন্য তাকে ধন্যবাদ। আমরা চাচ্ছি আমার এখানে ইনভলভ হওয়ার উদ্দেশ্য হচ্ছে যে টু মেক আওয়ার স্টুডেন্টস কেপাবল সো দ্যাট দে ক্যান ডেভেলপ দেয়ার ওন ভেঞ্চার or they can make them capable to get employment elsewhere, not in Bangladesh but other countries of the world too. When I came to know that this LIM has got the intention to develop that capability among our students, so I am very much encouraged and feel motivated to participate. I do not like to concentrate on my students only, but the students of other departments of Dhaka University. When I found that a student of genetic engineering just giving interview in Bangladesh Bank for the post of assistant cash officer. So I was very much annoyed with that person. এবং আমি তাকে বোর্ড থেকে বের করে দিয়েছি, বলেছি তুমি হলো জেনেটিক ইঞ্জিনিয়ার, তুমি জেনেটিক ইঞ্জিনিয়ার যে আমাদের নতুন ডিপার্টমেন্ট, সেখানে তুমি অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট ক্যাশিয়ারিস্ট, যার কোনো প্রমোশন নাই, ভবিষ্যৎ নাই, কেন? সে বলে স্যার চাকরি পাই না। তাদের দুঃখটা আমাকে অত্যন্ত পীড়িত করে। আমরা যদি এমন একটা এমপ্লয়মেন্টের সুযোগ তৈরি করতে পারতাম উইথ দিস নিউলি অ্যাকোয়ার্ড ট্যালেন্ট, তাহলে ওই ছেলেটা এত একটা ফিল্দি পজিশন, যেটার আগে নাম ছিল পাকিস্তানে আমলে টালি ক্লার্ক, টাকা নিত আর টাকা গুনত, সেই পদটাকে আমরা সম্মানিত করে অ্যাসিস্ট্যান্ট ক্যাশিয়ার নাম দিয়েছি বাংলাদেশ ব্যাংক, এবং যার কোনো প্রমোশন নেই। ওই ক্যাশ বিভাগে প্রমোশন নাই, এখন একটা প্রমোশনের ব্যবস্থা করেছে। সেখানে কেন why my graduates will go over there to seek such a very lowest position? What is the problem? Problem is that they do not find any job opportunities. that fits best with his or her capability or his or her knowledge. ওই জিনিসটাই I would like to actually promote in collaboration with the LIM that for the particularly for the graduates, so they will find the new talents. A sociology chhatro, a student of Bengali, a student of physics, they can enter in other jobs too if they get additional certificate, additional training, additional capability that they can be employed elsewhere too. So that for that particular reason, I have involved myself with this LIM. আমি অন্যান্য ডিপার্টমেন্টের সাথেও আমি যোগাযোগ করেছি, তারা আসতে পারে any students from any department of Dhaka University will come and participate so that they can get future employment. So with these words, I would like to thank you very much for participating. I think that this is the beginning, that is not the end of the day. This is the beginning of the long days in future. Thank you very, very much.
থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার। এখন আমরা আমাদের ফর্মাল যে ইনঅপারেবল একটা যে সেরেমনিটা ছিল সেটা শেষ হয়েছে, এখন আমরা কাজে নেমে যাব। তো একটু অপেক্ষা, উইদিন এ মিনিট আমরা কাজ করব।
Can you all hear me okay? Yes. Who can't hear me? You can't hear me. Can you hear me now? So now that the formalities are finished, we want to make this an informal conversation workshop. If any of you can't hear me, I will use this. But I would prefer not to be too loud, but loud enough. And so I would encourage all of you, when you have a chance, to speak out as I'm doing. There are usually 5 questions on people's minds when they come to a meeting like this. Question 1, who is here? Not just you, but us as well. Question 2, why are we here? What's the purpose? What are the outcomes? What's the rationale? That's under why. Third question, what? What is the topic? What is the overall area that we're going to be looking at? We touched on a little bit of that already. Employment, entrepreneurism, education, learning. How will this meeting be organized? We've begun with a little bit of overall purpose, a little bit on introductions of at least some of us who are sitting up there. We'll be continuing with looking at who's in the room and what makes you unique and what is a question that you have that you hope gets answered in our workshop today. Because Deb and I, who will be facilitating this, really want this to be informative, not just for you, but for us. We've been working long distance in Kuala Lumpur and Singapore and virtually around the world getting ready for today and tomorrow. We've got a number of conversations with different constituencies, with businesses, with students, with professors, with government officials. And the overall purpose for us is to really get to know what are the opportunities, how can we partner, how can we collectively make a difference. Not just what can we do, but what can we do together. So the purpose of this formation is so we can speak with each other and not at each other. And not so it's a one-way, us talking to you. So we want this to be really a conversation. And what we're going to be doing to stimulate that conversation is that Deb and I will be talking a little bit about what is the LIM group offer. And then let you give us some ideas on how that offer sounds, what makes sense, what's missing, what else we should consider, so that at the end we can do a little summary and say, so this is what we've heard, and this is where we think we may be able to go. So we're here to generate some possibilities on collaboration, There have been some suggestions on how we might be able to collaborate already. We want to build on that. So the best way to build is to hear. So we're here to listen as well as to share what we've been thinking. I just made a few comments up there. Let me do a little introduction of myself and then hear a little bit from Deb, who is Deb, and then we're going to hear who are you. So I'm an American living in the U.S., but also I've had the opportunity to live around the world. I spent 3 wonderful years that were life-changing for me in Malaysia, back in 1965 to 68. The president at the time, John Kennedy, said something that I think is profound and touches my heart and I think touches everybody's heart. It's ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And I think that's what all of us in any country are looking for. How can we make a difference? How can we contribute? How can I contribute? How can you contribute? And what can we do together? And that inspired me to spend 3 wonderful years teaching and learning as a teacher in Sarawak, Malaysia, where most of the students were Dayak, indigenous people, some Malay, and some Chinese. So it was a very unique experience. And what I learned from that is the difference between teaching and learning. There's a big difference. One thing to have a curriculum, stand up and talk to that curriculum. Secondly, and more importantly, is how can you ensure that the students understand the curriculum, know how to apply it so that they can go out and really make a difference in their own lives. Ever since that, I've been looking continually at what is learning anyway. What is transformative learning, where we can really change our attitudes and behaviors. So that's been sort of my life journey since 1965 and 68. I then ran a school in Angola for students who were coming from different parts of the world for a Gulf oil company. And then I was in Brazil for a year running another school, and then in Italy for 2 years running a 3rd school, and then in Kenya with a wonderful outdoor learning experience at a 3rd school for high school and college kids. And then I was working with the New York City school system and looking at how can the school system transform to be not just a placeholder for kids, but a place where teachers and students were having fun together, they were learning together, and they were engaged. And since then, I started my own business, LIM, almost 30 years ago, and we've been working around the world, all kinds of countries, all kinds of situations. Most of our work is with multinational companies who are interested in learning as well. So we're working a lot with managers, business leaders, individuals, teams, doing executive coaching, helping teams come to life, and helping the team leaders cascade good practice to their teams so that everyone in an organization sees where they fit, what contribution they can make, so that it's better in terms of productivity and performance and ultimately profit. But making sure that it's not just profit for the sake of profit. What are we doing as business leaders? What are we doing as MBA students to start thinking about the opportunities and responsibilities we have for the people in our community and the environment, the resources, so that they will be here 30 years from now and we can continue to do business. So having a sustainability mindset. So that's a little bit about the work that we do, a little bit about me. Married, no kids, a cat named Beethoven, very smart cat, musical cat. And my passions are obviously my work, and I also enjoy scuba diving when I have a chance. I was in the Philippines last week, and I got a chance to not only do some work with a couple corporations that I'm working with, but also do some scuba diving. And I met Deb through one of our contacts in Colombia. We're doing work in South America as well as in Latin America. And the person who was running our business there met Deb at a conference and said, "Ernie, you need to meet this guy." So I thought it was, first, I thought it was a woman. And the word Deb to me is Deborah. And so I was looking forward to meeting Deborah. And when I met Deborah, it became a wonderful man, and we had a super conversation to get kicked off. And we've been since working together, and now Deb is really an advisor to LIM. So he's part of the LIM group, and we have several others who are really helping us become a larger group that looks at not only education, but employment and employability. And in that journey, I met with Ashif it was just a wonderful connection that helped us to get to where we are. So I'm delighted to be here, and I'd like for Deb, you to say just a few words about who you are in addition to what I just said.
Was that for Arnie or for me?
Anticipation for you.
Okay. Well, good morning, everybody. My name is Dev Datta, and as I think Arnie has already introduced half of me, so I won't have to say a lot, except the fact that I'm very happy to be here. And Chief and Jackie, thanks for making it happen when having us over here today. And of course, for all of you giving your time, right? So I was born in Calcutta, so I speak Bengali. So if you don't understand my English, tell me and I'll repeat it. The other thing is, I picture myself, I mean, I was probably, when I was growing up in Calcutta, you were not born, I guess, because I left India about 25 years ago. So, but I was just like one of you guys, right? And India and Calcutta was very different in the 1980s than what it is today. For those of you who are reading history, right? It was a very different country, history and economics, because India was not a global power as it is today. The rupee was not full currency. There were currency restrictions, all of that stuff. So I was growing up in a totally different environment. But there's one thing that I'm very happy I had, and I didn't know how I got it, probably from my parents, is that I was very curious. I used to be very curious, and I used to love to read. So I read up whenever I could get hold of. So there was no internet. There was TV was, Bangladesh TV was always a lot better than Indian TV, especially at that time. And we used to have satellite channels connecting to Bangladesh TV, and you could see Remington Steel and Dallas and all the American series in Bangladesh. And in India, you could never get access to anything that was not Indian. Things have obviously changed a lot. But that was my first touch with Bangladesh, other than the fact that my parents were both from this country before partition, and then they moved over there. But back to me, there were two things: curiosity and the willingness to learn new things. And that opened my eyes. And one of the things that one of the sentences I read in one of the books, and I don't even remember what book it was or who wrote it, but many years later, a man called Steve Jobs popularized it a lot. And probably when I say Steve Jobs and Apple, all of you, the light bulbs come on. But I don't even remember who wrote it. Someone else wrote it in some other words. But what he said was, the world that we see around us is made by someone like you and me. Someone who's got the same one brain, two eyes, two hands, 2 feet, one head, No one supernatural has built the greatest structures, the greatest businesses, the greatest companies the world has got. No one supernatural. Human beings like you and me have built that. So if they can do it, we can do it. Right? Isn't that so? I mean, what is it that they had? Okay, they could have had some opportunities, some relationships, some knowledge, but you can get that too. Nothing stops you. That one single feeling, and please let me know if I'm not communicating this well, and I will repeat this in Bengali because this is extremely, extremely important. That the world around you and me is built by someone like you and me. Right? And if they can do it, we can do it. You will see your life will start to change. It changed my life. Right? Because what it made me fearless. And you know what is our biggest problem? Is our fear. We are fearful to talk because we think that if we say something, and probably we'll say something stupid and other people will laugh at us. Right? That's why we don't talk. I was like that. But then I thought that when I say something, nothing in the world is foolish or stupid. And you are wiser, a lot more wiser than what you think. Because we are God's greatest creation, other than people with the cat. Most of the human race, that's why we are human beings. So by staying quiet today, you will be doing a disservice to yourself. Forget about Ernie, forget about me, forget about LIM Group, all of us. You will be doing a disservice to yourself. Because today, we are not here to teach. We are here to share, and we are here to learn. And you are here to share, and you are here to learn. Right? It's a two-way process. So be fearless. Right? And we're going to talk about a few things when I get up and talk about the speech that Ernie has asked me to speak. I'll share that. But I'm looking forward to a very exciting two and a half hours with you all. And let's make it very, very valuable. Thank you.
Thank you, Deb. Welcome for those of you who have just come in. I'm Ernie, and this is Deb, and we're going to discover in just a few minutes who else is in the room. But I have a challenge for all of you, and it's going to, I'm sure you can do it. It relates to this notion of being fearless and trying something out. We're actually changing the framework of how most meetings get set up. So what I'd like for you to do is stand up and let's form one big circle. So that means getting rid of some of the chairs and including those of you who have just come in. So without talking, see what you can do in 2 minutes to get one big circle so we're all sitting together. It's going to require a little bit of shared leadership. Okay? Okay, we'll do three rows here. Three. Oh wow, I didn't realize we had an army coming in. Okay, people are still coming in. Let's leave it like this, and let's just sit down, find a place. Okay?
Sit down, please. Sit down. Thank you.
These the two. So for those of you that were sitting here, come on back. You're welcome to sit. And we have 2 chairs up here. We have a couple of chairs over here. So those of you back there, come on in. You can get a front row view.
ক্লাসমেট আছে নাবিলা ওই তো সামনে চিকন করে নামটা কদিন পর দেখলাম
ও ম্যানেজমেন্টে ভর্তি হয়েছে
ও কিন্তু ইয়েতেও পড়ে তোর বাবা কিন্তু ব্যাংকে চাকরি করে আমি সেখানে জানি না জানতাম না ঢাকা
All right. Do a modified version of what I was suggesting. For those of you who have just come in and are coming in, welcome. You're in a workshop on employment, entrepreneurism, and learning and teaching. So how do we combine all those together? And Deb and I have just given a brief introduction of ourselves, and some of the faculty of the university have also made some opening comments. We will be with you for another 2 hours, and what we'd like to do is hear randomly from about 15 of you, and I'll come around and give 15 of you, and you don't know who the 15 are, so you all have to be written. So the question is, who am I? Your name? What part of the university you're in? What section of the university? And something unique about you, something that nobody else has done, has been, or is. So think, we all have something that's unique about us. So give some thought to what that might be. And one question that you hope gets answered in our 2-hour workshop. So take 1 minute, all of you, because I might be calling on one of you. I'm going to move around from the front to the back. So everybody get prepared. My name, that should be easy. What part of the university? It should be easy. Something unique, very easy. Just think back in your life and you might think of several things. Places you've been, things you've done, ambitions you have that are different than anyone else in the room. And a question that you hope gets answered. Okay, 1 minute to think. And if you have a pen, it'll help your thinking. I've discovered that there's a lot of magic in a pen. So 1 minute to put your thoughts together. Thirty more seconds. Fifteen seconds. Okay, by the way, what I'm asking you to do is a very simple engagement technique. It's called stop, reflect, write, record. And what it does, it allows those of us who are like me, introverts, a chance to think. It forces the extroverts to edit, to write down their thoughts, so that when we begin, everybody can listen and everybody has a chance to speak. It can be revolutionary in terms of getting people to speak up, because not all of us are comfortable speaking in a large group, but with a little preparation, no problem. In fact, some of the best actors and actresses are introverts. I'm an introvert. I need time to think. So, for my sake, I always suggest when I'm in a meeting, can we have a minute to think? And that minute to think can really multiply the ideas. It provides better listening because people know that they get a chance to really think beforehand so they can listen when somebody else is talking. So think of this, as we work with you today, we'll be transparent with some of the techniques and tools that we're using so you can take them back in your own groups and see what you can apply. Okay? So I'll begin and give you a framework. And we're doing 15 of us, 15 seconds each. So my name is Ernie, president of LIM. What is unique, one of the things that is unique about me is that I have been bitten by a shark. Anyone else in the room bitten by a shark? Okay. And my question is, what is missing in education in the university today that could be improved that will allow greater employability and greater entrepreneurship? Okay, 15 seconds. Your name is, stand up.
I'm Amjadul Khan. I'm from banking and insurance department. My unique is I have been beaten by the fate.
Beaten by a pig.
Fate.
And your question is? What would you like to get out of today?
Why did you come here?
Now
To learn. What? What do you want to learn?
learn from you.
What do you want to learn from me? I'm pushing you a little bit.
Leadership.
A little bit about leadership. Okay. The reason we're asking questions, it helps you make this meeting relevant for you. If you just listen to what we had to say, you never know, we would never know what you want to learn. So a little bit about leadership, that's perfect. It's the business we're in. Thank you.
Actually, leadership is very important for us, but our university, I think that don't make up any leadership
তুমি তো বলতে পারবে
because
তুমি ছোট
our education system is not proper. I think our education system, basically university curriculum system should be changed dramatically.
You don't need to answer my question yet. You can tell us what is unique about you, something that you think nobody else has done or been. Something happened to you and a question that you have. Come back to you.
I'm Maya. I'm from Department of Banking Insurance, and nothing really happened to me yet. And I think in further it will happen, something that I would like to share. And about our university that I want to say, and I think a big problem is some students. I mean, most of the students are from Bangla medium, and they can't go further in further stage of education for their English. But they can't speak frequently that much, and that's a big problem, and I think we should improve that and improve our English.
Very good. Your English is just fine. Yeah. I'm going to come to the back a little bit here. Over to you. So you don't know where I'm coming next, so you all need to be prepared. Your name, part of the university, something unique, and a question.
Mr. Mohammed, Department of Banking Insurance. I agree with Sonia. I don't.
Nothing unique. Okay. We got to start stretching our imaginations. All of us have something unique. Maybe 2 sisters, 1 brother, and the brother is 10. Maybe something like that. My name?
I also agree with Maya. Many of us come from Bangla medium, and we face a lot of problems around communicating in English.
But your weakness is smiling so properly. Fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay. I think maybe the unique question is stretching your imagination, but if you could go back to your childhood, an experience you had, or maybe something last week that happened to you that you think nobody else has had this before. This is a way of getting people introduced to each other that goes beyond the formal name and just where you come from.
Thank you, sir. I'm a model from Banking and Insurance Department. It's not very unique for, it's very common for all of us, but it's unique for me that I am now here in Hagen University. It's very unique for me, and I'm pretty much happy that I am here. And
What would you like to learn? What's your question? What do you want to get out of today?
I want to be a proper human being. I want to learn values, leadership, and other qualities from here. Great teacher. Awesome. Thank you.
Two more. Everybody's looking down as I'm getting closer. I am Rahul Bhai from Banking Department. I think that of the and what do you want to learn about leadership? Anything in particular? How to corporate, how to lead in the corporate world. Anything unique about you? Nothing unique. I bet there's something new. One more.
Thank you, sir. I'm Tasnia Isa from Department of Banking and Insurance. We are here. It's a very unique opportunity for me that I'm standing here. About my university?
No, about today. What would you like to get out of today's workshop?
Today's workshop is on opportunity out of crisis. So, in Bangladesh, we have a big problem about job crisis.
So you're interested in what the opportunity is with the job. So by the end of today, what do you hope? At the end of 1 o'clock.
By the end of this workshop, I hope that we can understand what is our lackings and why we are not getting good jobs and why this field is full of crisis.
Thank you very much. All right. Deb, we have a few ideas to think about in terms of leadership and about getting jobs and what has to happen. And my suggestion is that we begin talking a little bit about what we've been thinking and the offer that we have. And then at the end, we will allow you to think a little bit more now that you hear some of what we've been thinking, what other questions are on your mind.
Okay, so for those of you who came late, my name is Dave Sata, and with Ernie I'll be facilitating this workshop. It's not about us talking, we'll be involving you, right? You already started involving yourself and talking. Did you enjoy introducing yourself? You like?
Yes.
It's nice to talk in front of people, right? Did you feel you were confident?
Yes.
Yeah?
Last confidence.
Now you're feeling even more confident, right? Because you did it once.
Yes.
So that's what we want to get, and that's why we're sitting like this, because we are not instructors and you are not students. We are having a conversation, right? You know stuff, we share, and at the end of this session, we'll be able to explain to you and get your feedback on what we have planned and what we have thought through, which we have done over the past several months. And as Ernie mentioned, I met one of the people from his team in Columbia. It was not Columbia University, it was Columbia the country, which is very, very far away from where we are, right, in South America. All know about Colombia? Heard of Shakira? Yeah. James Rodriguez? Yeah. All the women have heard of James Rodriguez, all the men have heard of Shakira. But there's more to Colombia, okay? Just like there's more to Bangladesh. And there's a lot of similarity between Bangladesh and Colombia, because in Bangladesh you've got some good things. You've got some good things that has unfortunately become a bad thing. You've got 160 million people, right? That's a good thing, because you've got lots of people who can buy and who can sell. So, Any of you studying economics? Economics? Everybody wants to do insurance and banking. Economics. Sorry?
Marketing department.
Marketing department. And in marketing, are you studying economics?
Not right now.
No?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. Economics, very important subject.
Yeah.
I studied a lot of economics, right? But basically, when you have lots of people, you can do more capital formation, which is good for the country, provided the people are properly trained, right? So you've got 160 million people. You are a country which is very richly endowed with natural resources. You've got lovely coastlines. Last night I was talking to my friend here about the beautiful beaches in Bangladesh, in Cox's Bazar and all those places. You've got a very, very fertile land, right? Even if you accidentally throw a tree, a forest grows, right? So, so you've got a lot of other raw materials. You've got a thriving manufacturing segment in garments, right? Which is exported a lot. You grow wonderful fruits. So there's a hell of a lot of opportunity, provided people first start to talk. If you're going to sit in the chair and feel uncomfortable talking, then nothing happens, right? So basically, that is what education is. And many of you said we want to know how to get employed, because and I know that all of us were hoping that this employment topic would come up, because you've got a big freaking problem. 5% unemployment in the country, which is okay. 5% unemployment in the country. But amongst graduates, you have 45% unemployment. That is not what I'm saying. These are reports that we went studied and came up with these figures. Anyone think I'm very badly wrong? It could be 42, it could be 46, but it's around there. It's very, very large amount. So what does that mean? If you don't study, the probability of you being unemployed is 5%. If you study and get a graduate degree after spending money, your probability of unemployment is 45%. There's something dramatically wrong. I don't have to be Albert Einstein to figure that out, right? So that's what we are trying to solve. So it's a good problem for us. And there's another thing I was telling you about my childhood. There's another thing that I learned very early in my childhood, which I used in my work life, is if you have the means and if you have the knowledge, if you have the right team, go and solve a big problem. Because solving a bigger problem, believe me, is as simple as solving a smaller problem. Except the results of solving a bigger problem is much larger and much more impactful than solving a small problem. So we've taken it amongst ourselves to go and solve a big problem. And let's try to do that in Bangladesh, but we cannot do it without your support. That's why this is not a lecture. This is a two-way street. So Ali, how much time are you giving me to talk through this?
About 25 minutes.
25 minutes, okay.
Then we'll take some time for
feedback and stuff. So my time starts now? All right, okay. So what we'll do is we'll walk you through a few slides. I'm not a big slide user, but I'm just going to use these slides just for reference, so that you can see it and you can follow the concept. I'll go through because this is not a presentation session. I'm not going to go through the slides in order, right? I'll just use a few slides. So this is the one that I want you to. I'm not going to read through this. I just want you to read through this, because this is something that I was telling you earlier on. Can you just quickly read through it? Can everybody see this?
আপনারা কি সবাই রেজিস্ট্রেশন ফর্ম পূরণ করেছেন? একটা ফর্ম দেখে আপনার কাছে আসবে একটু ফোন করে আপনি কাইন্ডলি পাস করে দিন, সবাই ফর্মটা পূরণ করতে পারে। থ্যাংক ইউ। আর সবাইকে ভিজিটিং কার্ড পেয়েছেন একটা? থ্যাংক ইউ।
Somebody else got a question there? You got a question? You have a question? You put your hand up.
Okay.
It's all right?
আমরা আপনাকে পরে দিই।
But yes, good. You stood up and said, I don't have a visiting card. So that's good. We want people to stand up and talk. Right? Very good. Can everybody read this?
Yes.
Now, as I said earlier on, my pitch is going to be in English, but I can also speak Bengali. So any of you, if you don't understand, let me know and I will speak in Bengali. The other reason why I'm telling you that I know Bengali is so don't speak bad things about me because I will know what you're saying. All right.
Or me, he can translate.
And I can translate for me, so don't say bad things about it as well. Okay. So can everybody see that? Done? Read through? Because before you go and try to fix something, you need to understand what it is. So what is the problem you're trying to solve? Okay, so this is LIM, and I'll keep that for just a moment so that you can understand. We come with a lot of credibility. Ernie formed this company a long time ago. It operates in 50 plus countries. We have many consultants around the world and lots of customers. Okay? Yeah. Next. So this is what we do. Our expertise are in these areas. Next. This is a part of a team that we have. We covered this. And this is our group mission. And again, I'll let you read it. So Bangladesh is a project for us. Similar to Bangladesh, we've got other projects around the world. We have partnerships, like the partnerships that we have with people like Ashif Bhai and Jaki Bhai here. And we don't operate unless they are on the ground partners, because they will understand a lot better than us what the country needs, what Bangladesh needs. So we always work in partnerships. And we put up some challenges over there, and we want you to read this very carefully. I'm sorry, everything did not fit in. So I don't know whether can that be fixed? The last line is not coming. But let me read through it, and I'll just look at you and see if you agree with me. So there's a lot of high youth unemployment, high university graduate unemployment. So you all are in the university, but I'm sure you see many of your friends and relatives and colleagues who are unemployed even after a university degree. Is that a right assumption? Right? We put in possible causes. Now, before we go on the possible causes, because they are fixing the screen, let me also share with you that many of you said that we want to be employed, right? We want to make sure that we get employed. You see, when it comes to employment, we think about ourselves, right? That we want to get employed. But we don't. How many of us really spend the time to think about what is it that the employers are seeking from us? Let me repeat that. What is it that the employers want from us so that we can get employed? You understand what I'm saying? It's not about whether the employer will employ us. It's about what is it that the employer wants to see in me to employ me. Right? And is that a fair point? So what I would encourage, or all of our people encourage you to think about, is how do we prepare ourselves so that the employers are queuing up in front of our houses wanting to employ us. Okay? And again, it's not impossible. The most successful employees in Bangladesh, in Asia, around the world are people like you and me. If they could get employed and if they could earn big salaries and become very successful, so can we. Tell yourself that every day. Like that?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. So that's what we need to do. We need to ask ourselves, what do the employers want, right? So, can you go back to the please? Oh, you guys can fix that. That's the last line, right? That's the last line. Okay, sure. So, now let's look at what the employers are seeking, right? And you tell me whether you agree. Employers struggle to find suitable university graduates. So suitable university graduates doesn't mean someone who's done his degree. You think you do a degree, you get a certificate, and you get a job. No, sorry, no. Right? You should be able to do that job successfully. Right? You should be able to do that job successfully. That's when the employer is going to pay you. Now you said that there is a problem in the education system. Right? You can either say that all your life and stay unemployed, or you can do something about it by yourself. Right? Remember, I'll give you another big philosophy or fundamental of my life. There are two kinds of things in this world. There is one thing there's one set of things, or rather, there's one category of things that are outside of your control. What is the temperature outside, whether it will rain tonight or not, whether the traffic will go away or not, that is outside of your control. Then there are things that are in your control. I didn't have control over Dhaka traffic, but I have control over what I would wear. I have control over what I will say to you, how I will say to you, whether I will deliver a lecture or whether I'd like to talk to you. I've got control over that. And that can make a big difference, because in this whole world, there is only one person you can control, it's yourself. You can't control anyone else. You can't control your parents, your brothers, sisters, friends, relatives, cousins. No one. You can just control yourself. And as long as you understand that, your life will be far more impactful. Do the things that you can control. So, yes, we will be aware of the fact that probably the education system is not aligned, right, to make you employable. The education system, like you said, is not aligned to teach you and make you proficient in English, right? But that doesn't stop you from learning English. If nothing else, watch a lot of English movies, read a lot of English books. That's the best way to learn English, by the way. Right? So see the things that you can control. I'm oversimplifying it, but it's really not that difficult. It depends on what you want to do, right? And you want to accomplish. So employers struggle to find suitable university graduate. University graduates don't pair with skills that are in demand. So I'll give you a scenario. Bangladesh has got 6 focus areas from the government, right? Tourism is one, hospitality is one, ICT is one, garment manufacturing is one, right? I mean, I can think 4 top of my head, there could be 2 or 3 others. But what I've also heard, or read rather, are that university graduates are training themselves on skills that are not aligned to these industries. They're going and studying something else. So the industry wants BPO candidates. The industry wants candidates who will come in and fill up banking and insurance. By the way, you've got many banking and insurance here. The financial industry positions. People who will get into manufacturing and hospitality and tourism. So people who go and train themselves probably will get employed. So it requires a little bit of creativity, not just creativity, common sense really, amongst people to go and, if you want to be employed, go and build skills that are in areas that the government wants to employ you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? So do you agree that is a problem? The second bullet, university graduates don't pair with skills in demand. Right? Anyone got any other, don't agree with this? Please feel free not to agree. Okay, third, applicants have low skills in English. That you said and you were referred to by many of your friends. So that's okay, I get that, but I told you how you can go past that. Bangladesh will not transform overnight. I mean, even a lot of other countries have got this problem, not with Bengali, but with their dominant language, and they did not adopt English fast enough. So if you want to be a highly valued commodity in the employment world, you have to speak good English. Right? You have to speak good English, because then you become a global resource. Because even if you choose to live in Bangladesh, which many of you would and make this country prosper. To prosper, this country can't just depend on itself. It has to sell its goods and services to other countries. So if you speak good English, along with other skills, obviously, you'll be a valued commodity. You'll be employable, right? And it's not just language, it's also communication, problem solving, entrepreneurship. These are all skills. And these all skills come from a state of mind. Confidence with which you are looking at me and answering my question is a great example. I'm seeing that change every time I ask you a question. You're looking more and more confident. Right? You see the evolution of your cricket team. I watch a little bit of cricket, but can you see the evolution of how the Bangladesh cricket team today look at their body language when they go out to the field? You understand body language? Not the mouth language, the body language, right? The body language when they go out to the playing field. I don't know how many of you follow cricket, but it was very different 10 years ago. Right? It's very different now. And so was the Indian cricket team. 20 years ago, the Indian cricket team was like, they were talented people with lots of inferiority complex. But today you watch the Indian cricket team body language, they are like world beaters, and because of that, not only are they winning a lot of games, but they are becoming very financially successful. They're making a lot of money. That is giving them even more confidence, right? Because they are seeing that the whole world is applauding them. Not to mention in India, where they're treated like gods, which is a different problem, right? But you understand what I'm saying, right? It all adds up. It all adds up and gives you that success. And then there is this teaching-learning gap. If somebody is just purely teaching from there, and you are listening to a lecture in a seating arrangement like this, obviously the learning is different. You're just taking, it's rote learning. You're just hearing what they're saying and you're taking notes. But what we can choose to do is to make it a collaborative learning process where you don't just learn, you share. There is so much of knowledge and intelligence in this room. Now the two ladies over there, right, why would you want to talk to each other? If you want to talk, we want to listen. Share with us. Now I'm not pointing to you, you can talk, probably you're talking to someone. But I'm giving that example that you can share. And once we put a culture of sharing, you have got something very interesting to say that your friend is enjoying, share it with the rest of the people. You'd love to hear as well, right? So that's what I mean by sharing and learning, right? That's the teaching style. And the curriculum is inadequate and or mismatched for the workplace. This is what I was saying. The target segments, the 6 segments that Bangladesh government is driving. It is best to educate yourself if you want to be an employee, to be in those fields. Entrepreneurship is a totally different thing. It's a different mindset, and I'm sure many of you will be very successful entrepreneurs. And you could also be an entrepreneur inside an employment. You know, the most successful employees are also entrepreneurs. Am I speaking too fast? No. Everybody understand? Yeah. Okay, very good. Can you hear me good? Yes. Okay. So now with that framework, let's look at, we've got 4 pillars to share with you. But before we get to that, this is what, again, I'm not going to repeat this thing, just read out the slide. These are our goals. So you will see how we deliver these goals. So it's important to understand the goals, because from the goals we'll tell you how we are going to accomplish these goals. So our goal is not only education and awareness. First of all, our goal is not just education, it's education and awareness. Then we follow education by increasing your exposure to employment, even before you get employed, so that you understand what is needed. Right? There is a good old saying that if you are pissed about how tough your professor is, wait till you meet your boss. Your boss is going to be even tougher than your professor. So it's good to get to know how the workplace is, so that you can prepare for it even before you go looking for a job, even before any placement, even before you graduate. Right? And what we want to do is, just like we're having conversations with you here, we are going and having conversations with the government and the businesses within Bangladesh to create the right framework to have better communication between the business and the education segment to make sure that you are easily employed. For that, we have to prepare the business and the government segments as well. And in fact, what we are doing is, we are, in addition to developing entrepreneurs, because everybody should not be employed. When you employ somebody, one person gets employed. I think Professor Mohyuddin said that earlier on, that when you employ somebody, or was it Professor Rahman? Yes, Professor Rahman said that when you employ, one person gets employed. When you put them into, when you create an entrepreneur, that entrepreneur goes and employs 10 people. So that's the thing. And we are partnering with the industry here. We've got several meetings this week with the industry to create new opportunities, to create new projects, new infrastructure in Bangladesh that not only benefits Bangladesh but also employs you. So we are not just going and talking about educating, we are talking about employment as well. But now here is the part that we need your help. If we have to create more additional infrastructure in Bangladesh, we will bring in our partners from overseas. You know why they would come to Bangladesh? One of the reasons, of course, would be that the government subsidies and the benefits and all that is given. Every country provides. But a very important question that they're going to ask is, what is the quality of labor or employees that we are going to get? So that's why your preparation is very important, because they need to see you as a very valuable employer and employable employee base or future employee base. You understand? So we are not just saying, oh, okay, we'll educate you and make you employable. We will work with the different stakeholders to actually employ you, but you'll have to support us by learning and developing yourselves in the right way. Does everybody understand me? Anyone not agree? Anyone think this doesn't make sense? Agree, disagree? Agree? Ladies over there, agree with me? See, I have been able to communicate through hyperspace. Okay, next slide. So these are the 4 pillars. So I'm going to walk you through the 4 pillars, because like Ernie said, the next action in the next 10 minutes is for you to be able to give feedback, Ernie, am I right, on this approach. So your homework, or not homework, your classwork is going to be to give feedback on whatever I have said so far. That's why I'm asking you, do you understand and hear me? So the answer is yes. So be prepared to give feedback on what we're saying, because we want to hear from you. And we want to see whether it makes sense. So the first pillar is awareness. You can't solve any problem if you are not aware of the problem. Right? Because there is another saying that when a person says, hey, you know what, I have a problem, that's 50% of the solution. Because most people in the world say, I have no problem. You say, I have no problem, no one in the world can solve it, right? Agree? Not agree. You say, agree? Make up your mind.
Yes.
You agree. So, do you agree that we have a problem with everything that I said? We have a problem and an opportunity. We have both, if we do the right way. Right? So that's what awareness is about. And today, the first bullet says, we conduct awareness meetings and workshops. This is what we call a workshop. Normally it's done with less people, but I'm so pleased that we could fill up the room and we are having a broader session. We need to do it a little differently. But this is exactly the objective. This is a workshop. This is not a presentation. This is not a classroom. You are not going to be marked on this. Even if you think you give a foolish answer, you will still not get bad marks. So be brave and give foolish answers. You heard the word, stay hungry, stay foolish? When you stay hungry and stay foolish, that's when you learn. If you try to say, I haven't done it, I've done it, I know it all, that's the beginning of the end. I know it, famous last words. I know it all, last word. Okay, alright. We also do role plays and simulations. This is basically inside, once we start delivering a class, the class is based on a lot of information, and then role players to accentuate the problem, understand the problem before we solve it. We do a lot of communication. We do realize that the social media is a very powerful form of communication. Who in this room doesn't have a Facebook account? Who doesn't have a Facebook account? Everyone. So that's why I put the negative. And who has a Twitter account? You have a Twitter account? Okay. So is Twitter catching up with Bangladesh? What made you put a Twitter account? And tell me about it.
I would like to follow the persons that like to follow the celebrities, the social media. I'd like to catch up with the world. That's why I'm following Twitter.
You follow Twitter. Do you also post in Twitter? Do you put your opinion?
Yeah, absolutely. I share my thoughts, and I have met few friends over the years.
Okay, so I'd love to keep in touch with you. I do Twitter quite religiously when I have the time. So my Twitter handle is @Datta DUTTADEB. Write it down somewhere. DUTTADEB. That's my Twitter handle, and you'll see my beautiful face. So you will know it. Okay, Dev Datta, Datta Dev. That is, huh? You're also Datta. Oh, wow. Bro. Okay.
Same family member.
Same. Okay, so social media we use on that, and we also, one of the key objectives is you are the ingredients that make successful businesses, successful projects. So our object, and those projects and those businesses are happening inside companies in Bangladesh and outside. So our goal very much as a part of our education process is to integrate you with the stage. The stages are the businesses and the projects. So we bring them to you and you to them so that they get to know you. I mentioned internship and mentorship. So that is a part of that. So that's our first pillar, awareness. Let's go to the next one. Next is education. So first, that's why I said that you have to be aware first before you educate yourself. You have to know that you have a problem and agree that you've got a problem before you go and educate yourself. And education, again, we've got two things that we have, which is our intellectual property. One is content, right? Just educational content. And the other one, and the education content is based on a lot of use cases and real life case stories in successful environments. So we've got content, and then the other part is very important, even more important, is methodology. How that content is delivered to you so that you can participate and you can actually grow yourself to be employable or move yourself towards entrepreneurship. Okay? The education content that is delivered in the classroom is, like I said, bundled and integrated with internship. So you get to understand the workplace, and the workplace gets to understand you even before you go for your first interview, right? So that you know what they want, and they know who you are and what skills, because you might have, out of the 10 skills, you might have 6 or 7, and everyone might say, you know, this guy is really good at the 7th, but if you could move him up on 2 other skills, then it would be better, right? You would be a model employee, and then we can work on it. Okay, that's very good. And then bring people from the business and integrate and bring them to the classes. I don't know, how often does that happen here? Do you have lots of people from, I'll take business and insurance. Insurance is one, finance and insurance. Do people from insurance companies and finance companies come and talk to you in your classroom? No, not yet, but will they come and talk? What do you mean you think? Is it a part of the curriculum? Did it happen last year or the year before that? Okay.
So we're not having this opportunity.
You have not seen that happen. All right. So this is a key thing for us because I'm not a huge educationist. I've been an employee and I've been an entrepreneur. I was involved with multiple companies and I worked as an employee and then I built a company and sold it afterwards. So I've seen both sides of the coin. So and when I was doing that, I had the opportunity of working with very smart people and I learned a lot from them and the environment. And I started to put together some education content, which was based on my learning from not from the classroom learning, but learning from actual practical work, which then helped me create the content that we have. I also wrote this book, and Bernie has also got a book. So both our books are all there, so if you want to pick it up afterwards, please feel free to do so. And it says a lot of the things that we are saying right now. So it's up there in the book. But basically, this is our approach is to integrate the student with the stage. The stage is the workplace. It doesn't matter what you do over here. If you can't be effective over there, it doesn't work. Right? So we integrated. Okay, next one, that's education. The third stage is evolution, right? This is the stage between after you get educated and as you bring into as you come to the workplace. This is the intermediary stage, and this has got a larger dose of of understanding what the industry wants. Because remember one thing: the industry is also changing very dramatically. It doesn't matter. It's not only technology that changes very fast. Every industry vertical is changing pretty rapidly. And therefore, the way of doing things are changing. And basically when your curriculum is built, when your textbooks are built, they are a few years old, right? So by the time you read them and you go to the workplace has changed big time. So you are irrelevant. That's why that correlation between the stage and the student is very important. And a lot of that is done in the evolution stage. And what we are doing also in the evolution is what I mentioned earlier on when I talked about education, is we work with external parties, not only in Bangladesh but outside Bangladesh, to bring in projects and initiatives to this country. So it benefits this country. They are net new projects and there are lots of opportunities in Bangladesh. Why? Because of the things I told you. 160 million people. The GDP is growing at 6% for many years now, right? There are different industry segments which are growing very rapidly. The 6 that I mentioned earlier on. So there is reason for people or companies who are very famous outside Bangladesh to come in and do projects over here. And our objective would be to partner with the government and the local companies to create employments for you. And also to create entrepreneurship for you, right? So all that is part of our evolution strategy. And then finally, and also the other thing is create continuity. So continuity is very important as well, because we are not only providing this course to people like you who are in the university, right? The reason we don't do that is because what I told you at the beginning, 45% of the graduates are unemployed. So we want to go back and reach out to people who are already graduates now, who are still unemployed, right? And so this is a continuity thing. And even you, when you go and take these courses, maybe 3 years later, you want to take another course to expand the skill further. So it's a continuum. It's not just you do it once and you forget it, right? And then be a part of the alumni association so that you can have continuous upgrading of skills. So that's the evolution piece. Then the fourth one is where the rubber meets the road actually, where you go to the path of employment or entrepreneurship, depending on what you want. Okay, and there we said that, like I said over there earlier on, contract organizations to employ competent and confident students for existing new projects, provide internship, and also we are very focused on building a strong group of entrepreneurs. But let me try to understand, what is entrepreneurship? I mean, how many of you have any aspirations of being an entrepreneur? Please try to count. Once. Hi, all right.
17.
18? Or only counted it? Okay, so it's about, shall I say about 10-15% of the room, or maybe a little more. 20%. Okay, so we've got a path for entrepreneurship as well. And not only that, one of the things that we are trying out in some of the other countries is help you become an entrepreneur in the sense that we have pre-qualified products that will serve Bangladesh well, bring those products into the country, have the business plan. We just need to make sure that the people are competent enough. And also organize for funding to go and start that business. But before that, you need to understand how to manage funds. Right? Otherwise, no one is going to give you money. So that's where the entrepreneurs, so there's a specific education track for entrepreneurs alone, which is like an additional track after you do the employment. So we are talking about incremental education content delivery methodology for employability and entrepreneurship. So I'm going to stop here and pass it back to her. Any questions, by the way, before I give it back? One question?
Thank you, sir. We see educated employment is more than uneducated unemployment. So what's the reason behind it and what we can do?
Remember the slide I showed earlier on? All of you agree?
I was not clear.
You are not clear? Okay, fine, we'll bring that up later on again.
Okay.
Any other question?
No.
Does anybody have this question? Did you hear this question? Why is there unemployment amongst graduates? We had that slide up there. Anyone else not clear on this? Do you understand those 5-6 points? Okay, we'll flash that slide.
Thank you.
Anything else? Can everybody? Andhra.
A little bit louder in your mic.
Can everybody hear Andhra? Andhra, you got to speak up. Louder.
Hello?
Hello?
Is it okay?
Yes.
Sir, as you are an experienced person and in the field of corporate world, you are an entrepreneur and also work for other people as an employee. So what do you think? What is better for us in prospect of Bangladesh to be? Is it okay for us to be an entrepreneur or to work for others?
Very good question. Very good question. And the answer is, I gave that answer earlier on. I think, and this is my opinion.
I want to know your opinion.
My opinion. My opinion is we should all be entrepreneurs. Right? And there are two forms of entrepreneurs. Those people, wow. People who start their own business are entrepreneurs. People who are employed can also be entrepreneurs in the employment. There are two companies where I spent, in one company I spent 4.5 years, in another company I spent 11 years. In both the companies I was an employee, but I was an entrepreneur. I was operating on entrepreneur mode inside the company. And that's why with my team I accomplished a whole lot of success, because I was not thinking like a job. I was thinking, what if this is my own business? Okay? And then I came out, right? Learned all that, came out and became an entrepreneur on my own. And a lot of the things I learned really helped me be successful. So I was successful as an entrepreneur, not because that was my first time at being an entrepreneur. I was an entrepreneur and I was employed as well. Okay? Does that answer the question?
Thank you, Deb. As you've been talking, I've been making notes and I've identified 12 C's that are the theme and summary of what you just said. And I'd like to repeat them for you because I think they're very fundamental in our offer and our engagement with you. One is curiosity. And I think your life has been an example of that. What can I learn? What do I want to know? And it isn't limited to just being in a classroom. Through the internet, through books, we can learn even without going to a university. So curiosity. Number two, you talked about control. What can I do? And that to me is very clear and perhaps the best thing to take away from here. Don't do what you can't. Do what you can. I think if you can always ask yourself, so what can I do? And you do that, you're going to be terrific. Number four, communication. We heard that a lot. Speaking up, asking questions, making offers, making requests, finding somebody who you can improve your English with, if that's the part of communication. Being clear, all parts of communication, giving feedback, communication. Number five, competence. The more you explore, use your curiosity, the more confident and competent you would be. So confidence comes with more and more competence. Number seven, then you can be competitive. Then you can go for a job and feel like you can get a job because you have gone from curiosity to competence, so you can be competitive. Then be collaborative. We are not islands. We need to work together. So how can we create jobs with others and really reach out? And part of this visit that Deb has said, we're going to be talking to businesses, we're going to be talking to government officials, and the solution is not just within the university, not with the students, not just with the teachers, not with the administration, but it's with the businesses, it's with the ministries. How can we together support one another? So really looking at collaboration. And going from collaboration to really commitment. That's not just saying we want to do something, but persistence, doing it over and over. Thomas Edison and getting the light bulb. He had over 100 versions of a light bulb before it really worked. So trying over and over again. Then compensation. This is what we're really looking for. Employment that leads to an ability to take care of our families. And going from compensation to thinking not just what's in the pocket, but how can we give back? How can we really contribute to the community so that we are really helping not just our families, but others. We're reaching out. And ultimately, continuity. How can we take what we're doing today so that it's sustainable? We are running out of resources on this planet. We're using 1.5 Earth's resources, and those will not be replenished. We need to be smarter as business people, thinking through what decisions will we take that will allow us to be able to use the resources tomorrow. So sustainability, continuity are clear. So to me, this has been the essence of what we're looking at. How can we make these 12 C's come to life? What can I do? What can you do? Together, we can do a lot. Margaret Mead, an anthropologist, said, never underestimate the power of a few people to make a big difference. In fact, it never happens any other way. So, a power of a few can do a lot. Ashif, you've been listening to this, and I'd like for you to, as the visionary that got us all here, to share just a few minutes some of the other ideas that perhaps we've left out.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Dave, for a fantastic presentation and fantastic wisdom. Actually, we are watching from these two guys and from all of you. আমি একটা জিনিস জানতে চাচ্ছি যে আপনাদের হাতে সময় কতটুকু আছে? একটু বলেন, সময় কতটুকু আছে? আমরা সময়ের সাথে তাল মিলিয়ে আপনাদের সাথে কাজ করব। 20 minutes. Fantastic. আমি আপনাদের কাছ থেকে 300 সেকেন্ড নেব। 300 সেকেন্ড? আমি এই ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটিতে ভর্তি হই 1977 সালে। আমি আমার লাইফ এক্সপেরিয়েন্সটা আপনাদের সাথে শেয়ার করছি, যাতে আপনারা রিলেট করতে পারেন কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ডে আপনাদেরকে কি করতে হবে, কিভাবে আপনাদের সফলতা আসতে পারে, অবশ্যই আসবে। আমি যখন ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটিতে ভর্তি হয়ে, আমার আগে ছিল ওয়েস্টার্ন হাই স্কুল, তারপর ঢাকা কলেজ। আমরা আপনাদের মতনই কিন্তু আমি বাংলা মিডিয়ামের ছাত্র। আমি ভর্তি হই সেমিস্টারের প্রথম ব্যাচে। প্রত্যেকটা ইংলিশ বুক পড়াশোনা ইংরেজিতে, উত্তর ইংরেজিতে। প্রথম সেমিস্টারে প্রথম পরীক্ষায় পেলাম 36% মার্ক, কারণ আমার ইংরেজি লেখা তখন ভালো ছিল না। এটা ছিল আমার জন্য একটা চ্যালেঞ্জ। আমি তখন ঠিক করলাম যে এ থেকে আমি যদি উত্তরণ না করতে পারি তাহলে কি দাঁড়াবে? তাহলে দাঁড়াবে যে আমি একটা 3rd ক্লাস পেয়ে ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে বার হবো, আমার জীবনটা তাহলে শেষ হয়ে যাবে। এরকম ফিলিংস আপনাদের মধ্যে আসতো কি আসতো না বলেন? স্টিল আছে। আমি একটু ইন্টারঅ্যাক্টিভ আপনার সাথে হতে চাই, কারণ আমি চাই এই ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির আমি একজন ছাত্র। ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি আমার প্রাণের দাবি। ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটিতে ভর্তি হয়েছে বলে আমি গর্ববোধ করি। আমি সারা দুনিয়াতে বলে বেড়াই যে আমি ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির ছাত্র। এটা কিন্তু আপনারাও তাই। আপনারা কিন্তু এই বাংলাদেশের লক্ষ লক্ষ স্টুডেন্টের মধ্য থেকে বের হয়ে এসেছেন। আপনাদের মধ্যে সেই যোগ্যতা আছে বলেই আপনারা আজকে ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির ছাত্র। আপনাদের মধ্যে হতাশা আমি দেখতে চাই না। তাহলে কি করতে হবে? আমি সোজা চেয়ারম্যান স্যারের কাছে চলে গেলাম। কমিউনিকেট করতে হবে, চেতে হবে। আপনারা চাবেন, বাপ্পার কাছে না চেলেও কিন্তু কেউ দেয় না। আমি তখন চেয়ারম্যান স্যারের কাছে কি বললাম, স্যার আমি তো বাংলা স্টুডেন্ট ছাত্র, আপনি যে সেমিস্টার সিস্টেমে প্রতি সপ্তাহে পরীক্ষা নিচ্ছেন আর আমার ইংরেজি শিখতে তো লাগবে 6 মাস, তাহলে কি আমি 3rd ডিভিশন 3rd ক্লাস পেয়ে কি আমি কি ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে বার হবো? আমাদের তখন শিক্ষক ছিলেন মোহাম্মদ আলী মিয়ান। আপনারা নিশ্চয়ই জানেন স্ট্যাটিস্টিক্সে সেই বিখ্যাত বইটা কি উনি লিখেছেন। উনি ছিলেন তখন আমাদের চেয়ারম্যান। স্যারের একটা প্রিয় কমেন্ট ছিল, উনি রেগে গেলে বলতেন ইতিহাস পড়ো। আমাদের বললেন তুমি ইতিহাস পড়ো। আমি স্যার এই সুযোগটা এখন আর নেই। বলে তুমি কি বলতে চাও? তখন আমি বললাম যে স্যার আমাকে বাংলায় লিখতে দেওয়ার সুযোগ দিতে হবে। তোমার কি মাথা খারাপ হয়েছে? তুমি তো ইংরেজি বই বাংলা লিখবে কি করে? আমি বললাম স্যার এই দক্ষতাটুকু আমার আছে, আমি ইংরেজি বই বুঝে বাংলায় ট্রান্সলেট করতে পারি। তুমি কি বিশ্বাস করতে পারবে? আমি জি স্যার পারবো। চেয়ারম্যান স্যার তখন আমাকে বললেন যে তুমি যদি বাংলায় প্রুভ করতে পারো তোমার টিচারকে যে তুমি যোগ্য, তোমাকে নাম্বার দেওয়া হবে। আমি শুরু করি সেই বাংলায় লেখা। আমি আপনাদের এই ইউনিভার্সিটি ল্যাবে গিয়ে সমস্ত ইংরেজি বই যা যা ছিল আমি কিন্তু বাংলা অনুবাদ করতে শুরু করলাম। আমার দেখা দেখি আমার সাথে সমস্ত ক্লাসের সবাই ইংরেজিতে খুব ভালো না। আমাদের সময় ইংরেজি লেটার মুখস্থ করতে হতো, জানি না আপনাদের সময় কি হয়। আমাদের সময় ইংরেজি এসে মুখস্থ করতে হতো, জানি না আপনাদের কি হয়। আমাদের সময় অঙ্ক মুখস্থ করতে হতো, জানি না আপনাদের কি হয়। আমাদের সময় জ্যামিতি মুখস্থ করতে হতো, জানি না এখন কি হয়। তাহলে এইটাই যদি আমাদের শিক্ষা ব্যবস্থা হয়, কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড কি আপনাদের স্পুন ফিট করবে? আমি সেলফ কনফিডেন্স আমার ছিল না, সাহস ছিল যে আমি এখান থেকে হেরে বেরিয়ে যাব না। আপনারা কি ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে হেরে বেরিয়ে যাবেন? আপনার বাবা মা কি সেই জন্য এখানে পাঠিয়েছে? জাতি কি সেটা কি আপনার কাছ থেকে চায়? তাহলে কি করতে হবে? সেলফ কনফিডেন্স নিয়ে আসতে হবে। কিভাবে আসবে? যেটা আপনার আছে সেটাকে সেরা করে তুলুন। আপনাদের কি কিছু নেই যেটাকে সেরা করে তুলতে পারেন? সেটা কি? কমিটমেন্ট। সেটা কি? টিম। আপনার টিম হয়ে যান। ইংরেজি শিখতে কিন্তু বেশি দিন লাগে না, টিম হয়ে যায়। সেটা আমি শিখতে পেরেছি আরো পরে কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড। আমার জীবনের প্রথম চাকরি আমেরিকান এক্সপ্রেসে 1982 তে। আমি যখন এমএক্স এ গেলাম তখন আমার বস ছিল গ্যারি এবং ছিল আমাদের বাংলাদেশ ব্যাংকের গভর্নরের কন্যা, উনি ছিলেন আমার ম্যানেজার। উনি তখন, আমি তখন 22 বছর বয়সে আমেরিকান এক্সপ্রেসে জয়েন করি। আমাকে তখন বলা হলো তুমি এই জবটা করবে। আমাকে মাত্র 8 ঘন্টা সময় দেওয়া হলো। আমাকে বললো একটা ছেলের কাছে, আমার কলিগের কাছে নিয়ে গেল 8 ঘন্টার জন্য। 8 ঘন্টায় তুমি যা শিখবে তা ডেলিভারি করে পরের দিন। আমি তখন ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটি থেকে বের হয়েছি, আমার কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড সম্পর্কে কোনো ধারণা নেই। আমেরিকান এক্সপ্রেসের মতো একটা জায়গাতে 8 ঘন্টার নোটিশে আমাকে বলে দেওয়া হলো তোমাকে ডেলিভারি করতে হবে। কেন আমি ডেলিভারি করতে পেরেছি? আমার উপায় ছিল না পিছিয়ে যাওয়া।
আপনাদের কি উপায় আছে পিছিয়ে যাওয়ার? পিছবেন আপনারা না। তাহলে কি করতে হবে? 100% ফোকাস হয়ে যান, পড়াতে ফোকাস হন, আপনাদের অ্যাটিটিউডের মধ্যে ফোকাস নিয়ে আসেন। আপনাকে দেখে যাতে সবাই মনে করে যে আপনি কনফিডেন্ট। আপনাদের মধ্যে কনফিডেন্স থাকলে আপনাদেরকে জব দেওয়া হবে, দেবে না? আমি এট এ টাইমে আমি 4টা ব্যাংকে চাকরি করেছি। কেন? আমার বাপ মা ভাই বোন কেউ কিন্তু আমাকে সাপোর্ট করে না। আমি এই কারণে করতে পেরেছি যে আমি জানি আমার জায়গা আমাকে করে নিতে হবে, কেউ আপনার জায়গা করে দেবে না। দেবে? দেবে না। এই ওয়ার্কশপে কেন এসছেন? আমি কিন্তু আপনাদের সাথে ছোট ছোট গোল টেবিল মিটিং করেছিলাম। সেই মিটিংয়ে বলেছিলাম আপনারা যদি এখানে আসেন আপনারা উপকৃত হবেন। আপনারা কি নতুন আলো দেখতে পাচ্ছেন না? বলেন না বা হ্যাঁ? হ্যাঁ, আপনারা নতুন আলো দেখতে পাচ্ছেন। এইটা আমাদের 35 বছরের অভিজ্ঞতার ফল। আমি পড়া শুরু করি, আমার জীবনে অনেকগুলো অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট আছে। আমি 5 বার মৃত্যুর মুখ থেকে ফেরত এসেছি। আমি 2001 সালে হার্ট অ্যাটাক রোগী, হার্ট অ্যাটাক হচ্ছে 2001-এ। 2005-এ আমি পানিতে ডুবে পড়েছিলাম। 1961 সালে আমার ডিপথেরিয়া হয়েছিল, সেই সময় কোনো চিকিৎসা ছিল না। আমি 2003-এ রোড অ্যাক্সিডেন্ট হয়, আমি বেঁচে আছি। বেঁচে থাকাটার মতো যে আনন্দ, স্বপ্নের সাথে বাঁচা, আশার সাথে বাঁচা, কর্মের সাথে বাঁচা, বাঁচবেন না? বাঁচবেন। কিভাবে বাঁচবে? আমি কোনো পথ খুঁজে পাইনি, পথ আমাকে তৈরি করতে হয়েছে। সেই জন্যই কিন্তু এই লিম গ্লোবালের সাথে আমি সম্পর্ক করেছি। লিম গ্লোবাল সারা বিশ্বে পথ দেখিয়ে বেড়াচ্ছে। আমি কেন সেই পথের আলো বাংলাদেশে নিয়ে আসবো না? এটা কি মনে হয় না আপনাদের দরকার? যদি দরকার হয়, যদি প্রাণের চাহিদা থাকে, বড় হওয়ার চাহিদা থাকে, আয় করার যোগ্যতা অর্জনের চাহিদা থাকে, কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড নিজের কাছে কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ডকে নিয়ে আসতে হবে। কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড আপনার কাছে যাবে না। যাবে? যাবে না। আপনাকে কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ডকে বলে দিতে হবে যে আমি এসেছি এই কর্পোরেট ওয়ার্ল্ড শাসন করতে। পারবেন না সেই সাহস দেখাতে? তাহলে আমি আপনাদের কাছ থেকে একটা জিনিস চাই, চাহিদা। আমরা সবাই অর্থনীতি, ব্যাংকিং, চাহিদা তো লাগবে না? চাহিদা না হলে যোগান হবে? আপনাদের চাহিদা দেখতে চাই। আমি ক্লিয়ার বোঝাতে পেরেছি আমি যে আপনাদের চাহিদা দরকার। আপনার যখন চাহিদা হবে আপনি তখন চাবেন। আস্কিং ইজ দ্য বেস্ট পলিসি। আপনি চাবেন আমাদের কাছে, চাবেন ইউনিভার্সিটির কাছে, চাবেন জাতির কাছে, চাবেন বাবা মার কাছে, চাবেন বন্ধুর কাছে। যেতে পারবেন না? চাওয়াতে কোনো লজ্জা নেই। আপনি তো চুরি করতেছেন না, আপনি আপনার জিনিসটা দিচ্ছেন, দিয়ে চাচ্ছেন। যতক্ষণ আপনি চাবেন ততক্ষণ আপনি পাবেন। চাওয়া বন্ধ হবে, পাওয়া বন্ধ হবে। চাবেন কি চাবেন না বলেন? কনফিডেন্টলি চাবেন, ভিক্ষা চাচ্ছেন না। তাহলে কনফিডেন্টলি চাবেন। আমি এই কথাটা তো আপনাদেরকে বললাম, আপনারা আমার ভাই এবং বোন। এই ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির সেরা জিনিস আপনারা, আপনাদের শ্রেষ্ঠতম অর্জন আমি কামনা করি। আমরা লিম গ্লোবাল ইউএসএ, আমি আপনাদেরকে রেজিস্ট্রেশন ফর্ম পূরণ করতে দিয়েছি। দয়া করে আপনাদের ফোন নাম্বার দেবেন, দয়া করে আপনাদের ইমেল আইডি দেবেন। আমরা আপনাদের সাথে যোগাযোগ করব, আপনারাও যোগাযোগ করবেন। এটা হবে টু ওয়ে। আমি কি আপনাদেরকে কিছুটা আন্দাজ করতে দিতে পারলাম? ভালো লাগলো কথা শুনে না খারাপ লাগলো? খারাপ লাগে জোরে বলেন। ভালো লেগেছে? জোরে বলেন ভালো লেগেছে। ফ্যান্টাস্টিক, থ্যাংক ইউ ভেরি মাচ।
Can you summarize that? Okay. This man has passion. And Deb has passion. And I think if you're looking to get something done, ask, what can I do? What do I have passion in? Do it. There's a lot of different things that need to be done. A lot of different businesses, different opportunities. I was talking last night to a woman in an airport who told me about her son, 26 years old. At the age of 18, he left home, he left France, and he went to China, and he became a webmaster, helping a lot of different companies get connected. He went out of his own country, very courageous. He earned a lot of money, and he said, what else can I do? He went to the Philippines, and he started and built himself a hotel. And because his friends saw the passion, they wanted to come to his hotel. He started the hotel last week. It was full, fully booked. And now he's in India looking for something else. He's continually looking around, a 26-year-old kid. So do what you can, follow your passion, and you will be successful. Now, you've heard a lot from us. We need to hear from you. I understand in about 15 minutes, many of you have to go to another class. So we want to hear a few voices before you go. So I want you to take another minute and think about any reaction you have or any question you have to anything that you've heard from Deb or myself or Ashif, or something you've read here, or something that you haven't read here and heard that you think is important for us to hear. Because not only, as I said, do we want to share with you some thoughts, but we want to hear your thoughts. So take 1 minute, think, what other thoughts do you want to share with us? And I'm not going to go around and pinpoint you. This is your chance to volunteer, to speak up, and we'll pass the microphone around. So in 15 minutes, we hope to hear very quickly from a number of you. 1 minute to think. A Facebook connection so you can continue the conversation with us. We'd also like some feedback from you. So if you have a piece of paper, it can just leave with you. If you don't have a chance to give some thoughts now, make sure you say on a piece of paper, here's something that I think is important for you guys to remember so we can take this and learn. This is the first meeting we've had. I flew in early this morning. Deb flew in last night. We've got a number of meetings in the next 3 days with a lot of other groups, from business to government. Your voice is the critical one. We want to hear what's missing, what we need to think about, what you want, so that ultimately you're the ones who can benefit in terms of jobs, employability, and entrepreneurship. Who has a comment? Who has a thought they'd like to share? We're going to keep it very short and sweet, so no more than 1 minute.
Thank you, sir. Hello, sir. I'm Ashifullah Shoban from International Business Department, University of Dhaka. So I have a question. Sir, we all know about leadership. Sir, what is more important for getting a job? This is leadership or CGPA?
Leadership or what?
Result, academic result, CGPA.
You first need to have your academic to be even considered to get an application and to be able to talk. So I think that's key. And that's something that you're all doing right now, getting your application. However, as you know, a lot of successful business people did not complete their education. Stephen Jobs is one example. So it's not an absolute requirement, but I would suggest you do as much as you can, make the most of your opportunity here. In terms of leadership, to me, the most important aspect of leadership is listening. There was a survey that was done among leaders, and they were asked, a number of years ago in Europe, 1,500 leaders were put into a survey, and they were asked, what is the most important characteristic of a leader that you respect? Number one, above everything else, somebody who would listen to me. So listening is a key aspect of leadership. Speaking up is another key aspect of leadership. Creating an environment where your team, your organization can be heard, be listened to, and not be punished. So a number of very simple little things can look at shared leadership. Another question.
Thank you, sir. I am Shukumar Dotto from Banking and Insurance Department. As sir said, there are 45% graduate people who are unemployment right now. So we might become one part of them. So what should we do to become separate from those 45% men? That's my question.
So it's not a question of what happens, it's not a question of what is going to happen if you be one of them. Unfortunately, 1 in 2 of you will be like that. So in every two, one of you will be like that. That's 45%, right? 50% is half. So it's a big problem, right? So the thing is, the only way you can be the other guy, and hopefully that will change, it won't be 45% for long, is think about the things that, two things, think about the things that you can control, and B, think about what would the employer want to see in you, Mr. Dotto, to hire you. If you were the employer, what would you want from someone you would want to hire? Does he need to know that specific skill, whether it's a BPO skill, or whether it's a manufacturing skill, or it's a tourism or hotel management skill? Can you communicate in English so that you can not only speak to local customers, but customers from overseas or suppliers from overseas? Do you have time management skills? Do you have leadership skills? Are you a good listener? Do you communicate well? Think about what you would want from a person to really want to hire him or her, and build those skills. And everything you will not know. That's why reading and having a curious mind is very important. All of you have got phones and computers. Bangladesh is well connected to the internet. You don't have a learning problem, except the desire is with you. That is the thing you can control.
Quick story. There were two men in a tent. They were sleeping and they heard scratching on the tent. They woke up and they said, "There's a bear outside." One guy put on his shoes. The other guy said to him, "You can't outrun a bear." "No, but I can outrun you." So